Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with some more Twin Spright. Of course, I've had so much fun playing this deck between regular ranked ladder and the event that I decided to take it back to regular ranked and give it another spin. I might just do the rest of my laddering for the season with this deck if I'm not making or playing games for a video. But I will say a lot of the dueling that I've been doing a lot lately has been for videos. I've been quite busy with other things lately, hence kind of why there were so many festival videos this month. I don't usually do that many, but yeah, like I said, I've been busy doing a lot of other stuff too lately, in addition to still grinding out Master Duel. If you're interested in stuff like Pokemon Pocket TCG, the new app, or Alestrals, definitely go ahead and check out a link in the description below to my second channel, Hexlex Plays. I had a comment recently asking me if I was going to explore Pokemon Pocket. Yes, I've already made and posted several deck profiles with at least one more scheduled on the way. Again, that's going to be over on my second channel, youtube.com/@HexlexPlays. There's also a link in the description below. Like I said, Pokemon Pocket, Alestrals, if you're into either of those, I post those there very frequently, so check it out for sure. Anyway, moving back on to Master Duel, and more particularly Twin Spright. This list is more or less the exact same one that I used before. However, there is a key difference of EMP Meow Mine. I've included a copy since I pulled a Royal one. But not just because I pulled a Royal one, also because this card is quite good in the deck. I did have someone suggest trying this out. And yeah, my last build had 2 Spright Carrot, and I have taken one of those carrots out for a Meow Mine. I think the jury's still out which one of these is like the better extender. I mean, you could also just play both the second carrot and a Meow Mine. There's certainly pros and cons to both. Also, somebody asked me in the last Spright Twin video why we don't play Sprint. They said, is this card bad? No, Spright Sprint is not a bad card at all. I think Spright Sprint is a very good card, but only in a specific type of deck, and I'm not just talking about Spright deck. It's really easy to think, oh, this is a Spright UR monster that's been played in builds in the past, so I'll jam it in Twin Spright as well. But the thing with Sprint is that you really gotta have a good payoff for it. I think that Sprint is really at its best when it's sending something that's going to summon itself back to the field, or at least put bodies on the board, right? This is most often the Nimble package, but I've definitely sprinted and milled Shinobi Necro quite a bit in my past as well. Rip Chaos Ruler. Anyway, so I guess that's kind of my whole thing with Sprint in this deck, is that I really don't think we have a good Sprint target to mill, especially in our previous build where we weren't playing Meow Mine. Now, with Meow Mine in the deck, you could make an argument for playing Sprint, because Meow Mine does have a pretty relevant graveyard effect, right? However, I think that Meow Mine's primary function, in my experience, not just playing it in this iteration of this Twin Spright deck, but in playing it in other Spright decks in the past, I think you got to think of Meow Mine as an extender first and foremost, right? Because that's most often how it's going to be coming up. I will say, again, in my personal experience, this bounce effect is very, very rare that it actually comes up. So, I don't know. I don't want to go that far out of my way to make a sprint just to send it to maybe once in a blue moon get a bounce, right? Also, there's the fact that the Meow Mine getting sent off of Sprint doesn't generate any extra advantage, so you're having to commit extra bodies just to set up this, frankly, kind of mediocre bounce effect. Not that I think that Meow Mine is a bad card. I'm not arguing that. I'm just arguing that I don't think that specifically milling it off of Sprint is a good interaction. And there's really not any other level 2 monster we want in the graveyard that badly. Now, again, other Spright variants, yeah, you can mill Nimbles. Tri-brigade Spright, yeah, you can mill Kit, and then the Kit mills Nerval, right? Again, Synchro Spright in the past, you would mill Shinobi Necro. Those are all very much worth it, because they all get you extra bodies. So that's why we're not on Sprint. I do think it is a good card, just not in this build in particular. What else would I do differently potentially about this build? I'm not gonna lie, I kind of think that something near these 40 cards are perfect. I think, in my opinion, the real flex spots for this particular main deck would be the second extender slot, be it a second carrot or the Meow Mine. I think the triple attack is a flex spot, but I think it's one of the best positions to fill that flex spot with. Secret Password is absolutely a flex spot. I've had people ask me, do you have to play this card? Not at all. You don't need 3, you don't need 2, you don't even need 1. You could play 0, and that is completely fine. This card is 100% optional. But, yeah, I think this main deck, honestly, in my opinion, I think it has all of 3 of those main deck slots. Oh, I knew there were other Spright cards that I wanted to talk about that I'm not playing. Smashers and Double Cross. Not just in this iteration of Twin Spright, but in any Spright deck I've played in like the past few months, I've not played either of these cards. Double Cross, I'm just going to say it, I've never liked this card. I don't think it's bad, I just think it's not as good as it looks. It reads insane, but it's actually pretty situational, and at the end of the day, it's pretty much just like remove 1 monster from their field, which is like, again, not a bad effect, but for the amount of setup that it takes in terms of both a search and what you need on board, I think it's not quite worth it. Smashers, of course, I've played this card quite a bit in the past lately, and I think in the past this was an optimal card to play in Spright. I don't think that's the case anymore. I really don't. I think the main thing that's kind of turned me off of Smashers is just the existence of SP Little Knight. When you think about, should I go into the SP or should I play Smashers? I feel like the answer is incredibly obvious. I will say too about Smashers, I even encountered this quite a bit before SP even came out and made this card look not great by comparison. There are a lot of situations where you end up not wanting to Smashers because it's just not good to do it. Banishing a Spright, or I guess a level 2 monster rather, from your field, excuse me, level rank link to that whole thing, that's really costly. That's really costly. I've had so many game states where my board is like Elf that doesn't use its effect, IP, and then Red or Carrot with a set Smashers. My opponent goes to play a threat, and I'm like, I don't want a Smashers right now because I haven't used any of my Disruption. You know? Smashers is at its best banishing a Red or a Carrot that has already used its effect. Or an Elf. One of those 3 cards. Those are the only times I want to Smashers, if I'm banishing an Elf, Red, or Carrot on my field that's already used its effect. And that might not sound like a big ask, but when you think about the specific gameplay loops that have to happen in order to make that feasible, you really don't end up playing this card a lot of the time. Excuse me, sorry about that. And then, yeah, of course, like I said before, the fact that SP Little Knight now exists makes this card look absolutely miserable by comparison. So I don't think Smashers is it. Again, not just in Twin Spright, but in just about any Spright build, personally. I wouldn't fault you for playing it. I don't think it's a bad card. And again, the same is true of Double Cross. It's really a lot of... Okay, so I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make when talking about deck building is trying to separate, is this card good or is this card bad? That's not the way to think about cards, because Smashers and Double Cross, even though I've just discussed all these reasons why I don't and won't play them, I don't think they're bad cards. It's really more like, a lot of the time the way that I build decks is that I'll build it out to be like a, even if I'm not planning on it staying this way, like a 50-ish card main deck, and then I'll trim it down to 40. So what happens is cards like Smashers and Double Cross will make the 50 cut, but they won't make the cut once the deck is actually trimmed down to 40. That's what I mean when I say, this card isn't bad, but I still don't think you should play it. I understand how that might be confusing advice to some people. Hopefully that makes it a little more clear. Anyway, we've covered this deck extensively lately. I don't feel the need to break it down card by card. Let's go ahead and just start looking at these ladder games. Okay, here's our first opponents list. I might start doing this, actually, by the way. Let me know if you want to see this in the comments below, because it's a lot more convenient to do this now. If you want to see the opponent's deck, I'm going to try it out for this video. And let me know if you like seeing the opponent's deck before we start the game. Again, in the comments below. But here's our opponent's build on Tenpai. I think this is a build on a budget. I think that's probably why we're on 1 Droplet, and why we're only on like 1 Raigeki, and why we're playing Cosmic Cyclone. Listen, I've said it a million times before, and I'll say it again here. I don't think there's ever been a single Master Duel best of 1 ladder list where it's been optimal to play Cosmic Cyclone in the history of Master Duel. Don't play this card. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive on in. We are losing the coin flip, but going first here. Man, I don't have a water nearby. Sorry about that. Anyway. Let's see what we got for this hand. So, of course, losing coin flip and being made to go first. I know what's up. I know that we're going to be up against Senpai. We lead off with the Sunny Snitch here, and then we're going to get hit with the Ash Blossom. So, here we have a couple of different choices, mostly because of the triple tactics talent in our hand. We can either draw 2 or can hand rip from our opponent, and I decided to go for the draw 2. Now, I know I've said quite a bit in the past that the hand rip on turn 1 with triple attack is 90% of the time the correct thing to do. This is one of the 10% scenarios where the draw 2 is actually the correct play. Because although I could rip a card from my opponent's hand and try to stop their plays, and I have an Ash Blossom and an Imperm to back that up, I think that the likelihood of me drawing plays here is greater than the likelihood of me stopping all of my opponent's plays by doing a hand rip here, right? I don't have any hard math to back that up, but when I look at this hand, I think about the fact that if I draw literally any level 2 monster in my deck, I can just make a full board. The interactions that come from that board, the multiple interactions, in my opinion, are going to trump the one card that I end up taking from my opponent's hand here. So, serendipitously enough, we actually draw one of each twin here. I'm going to start off with Leela. I like starting with Leela. If you have the option to start with either, do Leela and grab Kisakeel Frost, and that way you can get the draw effect. So, the Leela eats a Veiler, but we still have the Spright Carrot here, so we're going to special that and then go into the Gigantic. Basically, at this point, it's no longer possible for me to set up twin stuff, but I can make a Spright board. Here, our opponent's got a Gamma. Really nasty, except thankfully we have the Ash Blossom here. And the nice thing about using Ash Blossom here is that... Okay, so let me explain this interaction real quick. For those who might not know, Gamma is not once per turn, and Ash Blossom doesn't destroy the card, it only negates it, meaning if you Ash Blossom a Gamma, they can just do it again, even on the next interaction, right? The next time you activate a monster effect while they control no monsters. However, Gigantic Spright says that for the rest of the turn, neither player can special summon except for level rank or Link 2 monsters. So they can't use Gamma. Well, you might think, but Gamma's level 2. What do you mean they can't use it? But the driver is level 6. And Gamma is an if you do effect. It only negates if you summon driver. Meaning that without the ability to summon driver, they can't summon Gamma and they cannot negate. Now, like I said before, we are not able to go for a evil twin setup here. It's going to be a full Spright board, though. We got the Elf IP red, and we can even set this Imperm along with them. Now, the Elf can potentially grab back the Carrot next turn, but we have to remember that Gamma, of course. However, I am going to Elf here. Opponent does end up using the Gamma, naturally, but I'm going to use the red, sacrificing the Elf that we've already activated. Unfortunately, our opponent does have a droplet, but fortunately for me, and you probably already noticed this, they gave up their last card in hand. They gave up their Genroku. So, there really wasn't a way they could do this, though. Honestly, that would, well... I'm trying to think. They really should have just not... They should have just given up on this Gamma, honestly. I'm thinking about, like... So now that we have full information of what our opponent has, I want to figure out how they could have played this better. Because I feel like they could have played this in a way where they would have got me. I think it just had to be smart to use... Well, they should have dropleted... Hang on. Their hand was Sonogen summoning Gamma Genroku plus droplet for a total of 4 cards, right? Yes, because they already used Ash Blossom and Veiler. So you can't droplet all 3 of my monsters and still make plays. No, I don't know. Maybe my opponent was not in a spot where they could have made plays here, even with the droplet. Now, either way, the way this is going to play out, yeah, they could summon Gamma and Driver, but now they no longer have anything to OTK me with. They do, looks like they are playing the Excel Stardust, though, so... I'm gonna imperm that. I guess I didn't really have... No, I think I did have to do that. Because, like, they could bring back Gamma. If I try to imperm there, they quick synchro into the Baron. Yeah, this looks a little wasteful to use both IP and imperm on this one Excel Stardust, but at the same time, my other card in hand is a Kisakeel. Like, I'm just gonna win on my next turn anyway. Like, I have a full combo in my hand already. Like, even without... Because obviously the Kisakeel won't be able to summon a Leela from the deck. Yeah, it doesn't even matter to grab off this Sunny Snitch. But I can overlay the Kisakeel with the Little Knight. I should have summoned the Frost. Would have been optimal play, but it doesn't matter because I know my opponent doesn't have any more interaction. And yeah, I can just make the 3200 Gigantic, Gigantic for blue, blue for jet, jet for gamma burst, and then we win. Oh yeah, so although I talked about why I didn't play why I don't play Smashers and Double Cross, I don't really talk about Gamma Burst that much, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. It's for situations exactly like this. Gamma Burst lets you OTK off of very, very minimal resources, and I think it's very, very much worth playing for that reason. So yeah, there is our first game against Tenpai there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next duel. Okay, so our next opponent is going to be on Tenpai once again, and, Are these substitutes for lightning storms, I wonder? Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Although, to be fair, and I've said this about Tenpai too, I said it in our Tenpai video, I think, that you can get carried by even the sloppiest of board breakers, as we, well, as I said as we're about to see, but to be fair, our opponent doesn't actually resolve the Lightning Vortex during this game against us. I did not know they were playing that until just now. So, okay, this time we did win the coin flip, so we know, or we don't know that we're playing against Tenpai. Although, to be fair, I don't know that, I mean, it does, it depends on the deck, and the hand, of course. How much it changes your playstyle to know you're up against Tenpai, that is. Alright, opponent's going to Ash my Spright Jet here, which definitely makes me think they have more, they have more stuff. They have more hand traps, right? There's no way this Gigantic's going to resolve. And it's a Gamma again. So, yet again, I'm going to use the Ash Blossom against the Gamma, and then after this Gigantic resolves, we no longer have to worry about Gamma because it cannot summon a Driver. Well, we don't have to worry about it for this turn. We do still have to think about it for future turns coming up. Now, here I'm going to Gigantic for the Leela Treat for a couple of reasons. One, because I already had starter for blue. But two, by doing so, now I have access to a twin board as well as being able to do Sprite stuff. Also have the Meow Mine in my hand, meaning that I can set up twin Sprite stuff and also an IP on top of it. I'm going to have to give up my carrot to do so, but I think that's worth it. I think I'd rather have IP than carrot. I think. I don't know 100% for sure, but we could also, well, once our opponent plays a monster, potentially bring back carrot with the elf during their turn. Alright, so here's the Kissekeel. Kissekeel F's going to bring back the Leela Treat. And then here's the Leela. It was also nice to, in this particular hand, do the twin Sprite, or the twin combos without actually using, like, we used, Leela Treat and Kissekeel Frost to make all these plays. We didn't actually use any of the twins that summoned from deck here, so yeah, the Dark Hole from our opponent is particularly brutal, so I'm going to Elf for the Jet to see if I can beat the Gamma, and it actually does beat out the Gamma here, which is nice. So now I'm going to go for the IP Masquerade. My opponent's going to chain Maxi, and then I'm going to respond with the Kissekeel. Alright, I want to see something here real quick. What are the material requirements for this? 2 monsters, including an Evil Twin. Okay, so I want to talk about this a little bit. Me talking about games I'm playing in a video I'm making? Gasp. Anyway, I end up going for the Underworld Goddess here. But I actually, in retrospect, and not even necessarily in retrospect, I think as soon as I made this play, I realized I probably should have just gone for the Trouble Sunny. Well, but okay, so I didn't do it because of Maxi. But if I had gone for Trouble Sunny, it would have given me the ability to pop this Shundra. And I mean, at this point, my opponent's got the Pydra for Sangan Kaiman. I just conceded up here. I'm just like, yeah, you got it. Because they can Sangan Kaiman for Fadra, bring back Shundra. And I mean, at that point, they have enough bodies to OTK me. A 3k, oh god, excuse me, a 3k attack monster isn't going to stop them. And Underworld Goddess can only not be destroyed by card effects or targeted by card effects. She's still fully able to be battled over, so. Well, though, hang on. Shoot, hang on. Maybe that wasn't as clean of a win as I thought, because they would have to crash with the Transcendent. But Fadra would make their stuff unable to be destroyed by battle. That might have been an early concede for me, actually. That might have been an early concede. It definitely was a little bit early. I should have made them play it out for sure. But I don't know, because they couldn't rely on Quibelt. Well, if they played Moonlight Rose... Actually, were they playing Moonlight Rose? We can look here. If they were playing Moonlight Rose, I think they just had it. No matter what. They weren't. Because Quibelt wouldn't do it there. Interesting. Yeah, I think that might have been a bit of an early concede from us. Well, I mean, you know, that's something that I'm always saying, that you should play it out, and I guess that just goes to show I should follow my own advice sometimes. But let's go ahead and check out this last duel here. And for this last game, we're going to be up against the Shining Sarcophagus deck that's also playing a very small Cashier package, but it is using the Theosis, so let's head on into this one here. And I was a little bit surprised when I saw how little the cash package was. You'll probably see why here as this game begins. Excuse me. Alright, so going first. Okay, yeah, we have the secret password, so we can potentially do twin stuff here. Yeah, going to password for the Sunny Snitch, and then Sunny Snitch for the Leela. Very nice to have the Frost in hand too, because if this Leela gets negated, we still have plays. They have a Maxi here, which I'm of course going to use my Call By on. And yeah, looks like the Leela will end up resolving, so we're looking pretty good here. Leela's gonna pull out a regular Kissekeel. I can special care. Okay, so by doing this, I do play the Nib. Oh, you know, I should have not summoned the Frost, and then I could have played around Imperm and Nib. Well, but then I wouldn't have had an extra body though. Okay, so I did have to play the extra body to play around Carrot. I did have to play the extra body with Carrot to play around Imperm. Yeah, I was kind of hedging there. I was like, you know what? I have a line that plays into Nib, but it plays around Imperm, and it's far more likely due to not only how often the card itself is played, but number of copies typically played in a deck that my opponent has Imperm than Nib. Ergo, I elected to play around the Imperm and not the Nibiru when setting up this board, but this is a phenomenal turn one board. This is like a full, I think about as full of a twin Spright board as you can get. Maybe if I had another extender in hand, we could have ended on red plus Carrot, but we can also just pull Carrot, or red rather, out of the graveyard during my opponent's turn. And we have a Veiler in hand, so it's not like we don't have a monster to get here. Yeah, here's the Leela effect to bring back the Kissekeel. Oh, I did kind of debate playing the second Leela in the extra deck, but in order to play that, what would I have had to take it out? Probably the Nightmare Unicorn. Yeah, I'd probably take out the Nightmare Unicorn, but it's debatable which is better. There are arguments for both. Second Leela is better in grind games / when you go second. Nightmare Unicorn, it's just kind of like a good niche card to have in general. It's a way to remove something without destroying it, and it's also a Fiend, so you can go into it even if you're Fiend locked in the extra off the Evil Twin effects. Yeah, here I'm going to Ash Blossom the Raitsoth. They have a Fenrir anyway, and then the Theosis, so... Oh, I thought I negated the Theosis. But this is why I was a little surprised that their Cashier package wasn't bigger, because, like, you know, if you're like me and you're in this scenario, you're probably just gonna assume that your opponent is on a Cashier deck, right? If I see Theosis, I generally assume, okay, this is a dedicated Cashier deck. So for them to be using it as part of the engine, oh, but the Shining Sarcophagus deck doesn't summon from the extra, so they don't care about the Xyz lock. That makes a lot more sense now. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to Veiler the Unicorn here. Might look a little bit weird, but I really don't want to deal with the Birth more than anything else. I don't really care about the extra deck grip, I just don't want to deal with the Birth. Although, to be fair, the extra deck grip on SP would be really bad here. So, I'm going to activate IP here. Yeah, we'll use IP with the Spright Red, and then we can go into SP. Although, you know, maybe but I know I couldn't red Tribute Elf. That's what I wanted to do, but they put Unicorn on the Chain Link even though it was negated. Very smart from my opponent. Very, very good play. We'll use the Carrot on the turn Silence here to negate that, so that way they can't get the Search off. But their last card does end up being the Shining Sarcophagus. Now, me, ever the Yu-Gi-Oh player, I'm like, oh, this is simple. I will simply Kissekeel and bring back the Leela and pop the Shining Sarc, and then I win. I say ever the Yu-Gi-Oh player because look at me not reading the first line. Literally the first line cannot be destroyed by monster effects. So, yeah, that's very not good. Because I could have absolutely just saved the Leela and popped the Gandora G after it got summoned because it's not a quick effect. Instead they get a full board wipe. Well, not a full board wipe here. I'm going to use SP to save herself and Leela. but I do end up losing everything else here. Thankfully... Okay, yeah, they're gonna grab the ties that bind off Gadget Trio, but thankfully the Silent Swordsman and Magician here are actually not enough to finish me off in conjunction with everything else here. That's gonna leave me at 1,100 life points. And I do get my SP and Leela back, so... Alright, so let's see, the Silence, gain their stuff. I'm gonna Leela for the Kisakeel. This will not only get me a draw, but by drawing, I trigger the effects of the Silent monsters, and then now my triple attack is live. Of course, the Silent Magician will negate it, so I'm gonna have to clear that off the field first. I'm gonna go for my Trouble Sunny here, move to battle. Battle over their Silent monsters. Now we don't have to worry about like any negates or anything. We're gonna use Trouble Sunny's effect. I use it during the battle phase, but my Evil Twins can't exactly battle over the Gadget Trio anyway. That said, I'm still going to bring back the Leela and then pop the Gandora G here. Main phase 2, we're going to triple attack and take the Gadget Trio. And this is kind of one of those situations where the Nightmare Unicorn comes up, because although the Shining Star can't be destroyed by monster effects, it can be shuffled back. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to put back the Shining Sark and then pass to my opponent. And then here, as you can see, I've not only cleared their board, but I have myself set up with multiple interactions on their turn too. I can Kisakeel, bring back Leela to pop their card. I can also SP Little Knight and banish their card as well. So, yeah, with one card coming off the top, they do not have the ability to mount a comeback here. And that is going to secure the W for us. So, there we go. There's those games. Thank you so very much for watching them. I appreciate you, as always, as ever, for doing so. But yeah, that'll do it. Like I said, let's just move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.